Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Bobby.
They want NWA? Let's give them NWA.
Who are those guys?
And then there's the other guys.
We're the other guys. We're the guys nobody ever bets on.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
It's time for the Other Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts, Tim, Dave, and Jeremy.
What it is, you're watching Tyrus and the Wise Men. No, wait, I guess it's not going to work either, guys. I don't think that's the opening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. What can we tell you? We are the Other Alliance Guys, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information around the National Wrestling Alliance, the United Wrestling Network, and various independents around the world. My name is Tim. This is Jeremy. This is Dave Scooby. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Yeah, it's been a week. It's been a week. The chat is already hopping though.
Yes, it is.
It is. Willie was here like 3 hours ago. Like he left a comment a while ago, which I think just over time has dissipated from the chat. I think that's how it works. But
I love the dedication.
Yeah, man. Everybody's early. I dig that. Thank you guys for being here. Willie wants us to know that Tyrus is attempting to bankrupt Dairy Queen. I assume that's strictly through consumption. So, yeah, it's certainly possible. Steve G is here. Hey, Steve, thanks for coming back. Appreciate you. Matthew Underwood is here. Welcome again. Good to see you, Matthew. And Media Mike, Demonetizing Mike, is in the house with our comment of the day. That's all we're going to hear from Mike today. That's it, Mike. You're cut off now. Who else is here? Erlinda. I do not know Erlinda. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you being here. And Steve G's kind of got the first question of the day before we kind of get into everything. Does anyone know how is the UWN Female Championship going to work? Do you want to talk about it again? Yeah, I don't know that it's public knowledge yet. I don't have any information beyond what I might have been told in confidence, not by the UWN, but by other people. So I imagine there's probably going to be a tournament. I think we could probably say that and leave it at that for now. But we look forward to that. The belt design looks great. Willie. Ooh, Willie. Too soon, Will.
There's no way to make that submerge.
It's too buoyant.
It floats.
Yeah, it just floats. So what are we talking about today, guys? We're going to do a little, kind of off of Dave's vibe, something I call woulda, coulda, shoulda. And, who could have unseated Tyrus or Kamille or La Rebellion, and who would unseat them, and maybe who should, and maybe those last two are the same people, maybe they're not. So that's for you guys and for the chat to kind of determine. We're going to run down the our card. The card has been put out for HP Cares for Cooper. That event the NWA is putting on within the next week or so. And you have to put it up. Got to put that one up. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, who cares? Well, I care. And Jeremy's going to give us the best of the UWN matches. Oh, baby. There was some action this week in Memphis, and Dave's going to fantasy book. What does the NWA do if there are no matches taped for USA or maybe even Power for that matter? So we'll get into that as we go. Now, most importantly, however, tonight we're kind of the pre-show for the main event because the Alliance guys, the OG, are on tonight at 8:00 because Jay is completely the wrong one. Yeah, it is. Right. It won't let me talk while it's playing, apparently. So that is Jay and the Alliance guys are interviewing your National Wrestling Alliance World Junior Heavyweight Champion, Kerry Morton. That's tonight at 8:00. So we're going to be off the air about 7:45. So you guys can grab a snack, go use the can, come back and watch that very cool interview. I like to think that we've played a small part in this whole Barrett Brown, Kerry Morton thing that's been going online with tweeting out about Barrett, and Barrett's been on in the last week or two on the podcast with Jay and the guys promoting that match that did happen last Friday between he and Kerry Morton. And that's exciting. You guys looking forward to that tonight? Dave, you got any questions for the world junior champ?
I'm needing to know when and where he's showing up in the NWA. I'm hoping it's 75. But they have a couple events that are co-promoted, but I'd rather see him. I'd love to see him show up 5 years later at 75, being that he was at 70.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one of these things of finish the story and let's see if we add another chapter to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we said last week, it's my favorite storyline, Jeremy. And it's not even an NWA thing yet officially. Barrett Brown versus Kerry Morton for the World Junior.
Right. Kerry's got to win over Barrett now. So naturally, I want to see a second match to even it out, which ultimately leads to the third rubber match, to decide who should truly hold the junior heavyweight title. I mean, my fingers are crossed that we get that. I don't know. It's that known unknown. We know that Billy doesn't book for us. Billy books for him. But Barrett's had exposure. Barrett got put through a table by the Dudley Boys at their Hall of Fame speech. He's done job work for the WWE, but he's been to the WWE. He is established. If Billy doesn't pull the trigger and bring him into the NWA, I think it's just, to quote a very terrible person, just sad. Said.
A very terrible person indeed. We're gonna get it. It turned on me. We're gonna get into the UWN in a bit. Steve, he doesn't like what Memphis Wrestling has done. They built up for months Limelight defending his championship just to have the Posse interfere. If they wanted a tag team, it should have been Bodega versus Posse.
I don't know that that's what's gonna. I don't know that that's the only thing that's going to happen, though. Both men had some pretty big words for each other. That at the end of the day, once they've dealt with the problem that decided to insert themselves in there, still need to be addressed. And Dustin's not one to let something slide get swept underneath the rug like that so easily. And very rarely does he have someone come in and just, well, I can't say very rarely, but here lately he hasn't brought someone in and them only done one thing for the company.
Yeah.
We've seen them in multiple matches, even if it's spread out across a couple of months. But I think that we'll end up seeing good on that. I do.
I kind of looked at it as like it's the first level of like the first week of Limelight being here, you know?
Right.
And it was very much like a replay of the K-Tumor gun show situation where, like, I want that belt, man, but let's team up and kick these guys' asses, and then, you know, they'll get into it and as the couple of weeks go by.
Yep.
It's just,
And that's that's one of the things I like about Memphis. You know, it's not the prettiest, most polished product by any means, but Dustin has a vision of where he wants these storylines to go, and Memphis wrestling, and every week he is executing another step in that direction.
I'm a Lamb Son guy, and he says about Limelight in Memphis, stay tuned.
Yep.
He's got his ear on the ground and his finger on the pulse of now.
Yeah, and if you're not following CWFH News on Twitter, which is Lamb Son, that is the man with his pulse on damn near everything involved in wrestling. There's not anything I don't think that he doesn't know or find out real quick about when it comes to wrestling. So definitely follow him on all the socials.
Dustin thinks the posse's involving too much into things. I think they need an overhaul of that kind of division, but well, we'll see. We'll get into that.
We'll get into their tag team division, because I do think that I do think that the posse is involved, but I think they're working towards something as well.
Cool. And Lamb pointed out my shirt. This is Steve Carino's Squared Circle Cafe. Last time I checked, he still sells coffee. It's pretty good. It's pretty good coffee. He'll send it right to you. Listen, let's talk about the NWA first, and let's get right into it, as every podcast should say at the 13-minute mark. Let's just dive right into it, guys.
What we
Professionals.
Let's just do a little round table. Let's do our woulda, coulda, shoulda. Who ought to unseat Tyrus, Kamille, and La Rebellion? Well, let's ask you guys in the chat. Who could have, that hasn't have, unseated Tyrus, that would have been, let's go with Tyrus first, an excellent world's champion for us, the best world champion that we could have at this stage in the game? Whether it's a current NWA talent or someone that could have been brought in for a run. Jeremy, who would you pick for who could have but didn't? What do you think, Dave?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I would have actually liked to have seen Cardona be given a second chance, being that he was injured. And I don't know, it's sort of a 6 of one, half dozen of another. Matt Cardona as a wrestler and as a character, you can get behind him. Either you love him or you hate him. There's no, he's sort of cool. No, you either like him or you don't. But the thing is, him being involved with the NWA, it was one of these things of the tapings. There was too long between tapings. If he's in Impact, they tape every 6 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever, or they're almost down to a monthly schedule where they can make adjustments. But if you're taping for 2-3 months at a time, you really can't make an adjustment. You just have to let things happen.
Yeah.
And that's the only bad thing that I could see is you can't make a correction because it messes up the continuity of everything else.
Yep.
I would have loved to have seen him have a second chance, being that he was injured.
It would have been great, but you know, I think what killed it for me, for Cardona, was the Rolando stuff. And you know, we've heard that he was the guy who pushed that. Let's make this happen as something, you know, where he gets beat 3 times by Rolando or whatever it was, or twice. Was it twice? I don't remember. You know, but that's like, well, you're no longer a credible world champion to me. Like you know, I often think on one hand, you know, a guy like Cornette, puts too much stock into the, well, if you did this, wrestled the Invisible Man at one point in your career in your 20s, you're dead to me for the rest of your career. I think anything can be rehabilitated, but he wasn't the guy now. But that was a good choice. Adonis is coming up in the chat a fair bit. Willie says Odinson could have done it. I kind of see Odinson right now, for me, Jeremy, is more of a TV champion.
Yeah, Odinson still needs Odinson look-wise, definitely a world champion. Definitely has a world champion look. In ring, he's still beholden to that Asgardian uppercut. And then mic-wise, not at all.
Yeah, he needs a manager.
Champion with a mouthpiece, definitely. Getting comfortable holding the title, give him a mouthpiece, let him talk occasionally, get comfortable talking on the mic, and then definitely down the road. But I still see a lot of work for him on the mic and stuff.
I love him in a tag team right now with Kratos. Kratos is pretty good on the mic, and he'll be like, "Yeah, we're awesome." He just kind of, and Odinson runs around the ring just like being badass.
Yeah.
It's kind of Steiner-like, actually.
Yeah.
Not that Scott Steiner was an amazing promo, but he'd be doing Steiner math, and Rick could just be doing dog-faced gremlin stuff around the ring, right?
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, it's
Very
cool.
true.
Jake Hal's here. He says Donis, and also 312 was the right time and place for it.
Yeah.
Lamb says Adonis because he's the only wrestler on the NWA roster who is active outside North America.
Yep.
Boy, is he ever active outside of North America.
And that would be my pick for going over Tyrus. Afterthought would be Adonis, and because of Lamb's reasoning, because he is a world traveler, so he would take that belt with him everywhere.
Oh, Jay says, I'd love to see Austin Idol manage a very motivated Odinson.
Yeah.
Brian Cage for Coulda? Could Brian Cage have been a credible NWA World Champion to unseat Tyrus? It's not a terrible pick in the end.
It's not terrible. He can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not the best promo, but he's not, again, he's serviceable.
Yeah. He's serviceable. Yeah. I think it's a great word, serviceable, for him.
I'm not a Cage fan, but he definitely for the NWA, yeah, why the hell not?
Yeah.
At this stage of the game, it's still infantile. Even though it's the oldest, it's still infantile under Billy, so why the hell not?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think a lot of people in this chat would say nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
When it comes to in-ring work. Anyway, so let me see here. So let's kick off Kamille. Lamb says for Kamille, it would have been Markova, but they effed up her build up, and the beginning was perfect with Mrs. NWA USA before they threw it in the trash. That's even going back a fair bit, but she's had her time and her shots, and guess what? She's getting another one. She's headlining HP Cares for Cooper with Kamille on another world title shot. I don't know. I think her time has passed. What do you guys think?
At the moment, her or Max
for Coulda, yeah.
For Coulda, Taya or Taya or Allison. One of those two would have been good to take it off of her to use to if for nothing else as a transitional champion.
Right.
What
do you think, Dave?
Then I think about it, and she's one time. I don't know that I want her to lose it right now. I heard something earlier, and I was listening to Click This, the Kevin Nash podcast.
Right.
And he was talking about the fact that you've got 35-year-old guys that have had 12 championship runs. What does that really say about your title runs? You know, whereas you got Kamille, who's held it once. Let her keep fucking running with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't care. Well, like we're kind of who should, or who would, all at the same time here for this. That's fine with me. Like Jordan Grace, I know she's in bodybuilding now, but no problem with that.
Yeah.
Camille's
or Jessica Havoc.
Camille's all about the physique, or Jessica Havoc, you know, all about the physique. And, you know, Kamille has kind of toned down a little bit over the last year, still in tremendous condition. Jordan Grace is just and I mean this in the physically muscular way. She's a beast. Right?
Yeah. And I think that there's something to be said about bringing in people, even if it's just for one set of tapings. Bring in a Jordan Grace, bring in a Jessica Havoc, bring in veterans like Dave Marquez did with Jordan Clearwater, which I'll speak on later on. Bring them in. Bring these veterans in and put them across the ring from Kamille, who's still, she's got what, 3 years under her belt as in-ring performer.
Yeah.
She can do nothing but continue to learn from these veterans, have banger matches, and continue her reign.
Yep, 100% agree. Dave, what do you think about this? Tessa had to be it, right? What do you think, Dave? Is Tessa the one who should take it from Kamille?
Well, right now, there's a big question mark as to who could come in, because she's gone through everybody on the roster. Granted, Tessa is a name. People know about her, whether it's good or bad. She held the Impact World Championship. Not the women's title, but the World Championship. So she's been put in the spotlight before.
Yep.
It would either build Kamille up even more, but right now, I'd say Tessa's about the only one that you can really bring in my eyes, that would either build Kamille up or tear her completely down.
I think you could. I 100% agree. She's the only one. I think you could do I know I'm always pushing Lindsay Snow, but I think you could, and I know there's reasons why that probably wouldn't happen, but I think you could do that if she came in and destroyed someone like Markova in under a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know? But for me, go ahead, please.
I'm thinking it's one of these things of Kamille is the champion, and she's been built so strong. I don't believe there's anybody right now that can defeat her. The only way she loses the title would be by an injury angle.
Yeah.
I would hope it wouldn't be a real injury, but if they do an injury angle where it's almost, I think back to Jazz. Jazz gave up the title due to a physical injury.
Right.
Due to her being sick and not being able to wrestle. That if Jazz could find herself a monster to be her protege, have Jazz come out, do her talking, because she can talk a blue streak.
Yeah.
Have her find someone to go after Kamille and not defeat Kamille, but injure Kamille, so she has to give up the title. She didn't lose the title. She's still the one-time champion. She's just on the shelf right now. That's really the only storyline I could see that would make sense with having the tag of one-time champion.
We kind of talked about this on the Discord a little bit, but you know, if Kamille goes down that way, and you know, I'm sure she gets a standing ovation when she leaves the ring limping, right, from the crowd. For the one-time champion, goes out so super strong. I'm not advocating this, telling you guys, like, there's no reason that they can't take Kamille and go, well, she's done with the women's championship. What's left? And she kind of looks at the TV title or the national title. Just saying, I'm not trying to book the NWA with this because I wouldn't do it. I want to be clear on that. But if you wanted eyes on the prize, maybe that was something to do. Let me. I've missed a few things here. You talking about Tim Hortons coffee? It's basically the Dunkin' Donuts of Canada. They're on every street corner in every town, in every podunk, dirtwater, and major city in this country. They're fine. If you like regular coffee and you're on the road, get a Tim Hortons. But if you're ever up here and go, oh, I've heard about this place, I gotta get one. It's like me and White Castle, which I said last week I want to try, and everyone went, no, don't do that.
Don't do that to yourself, bro.
Steve says NWA had to take over the reins. Had the guys to take over the reins. You had Pope, you had Drake, you had Storm, but you let them all go. Yeah, it's true for different reasons. Where is Storm? Is he retired? I saw some real estate thing that he was doing online. He looked like a regular human being now, and I thought, please come back.
Yeah, his business is booming with the real estate business, from what I last read.
Well, let's talk about the World Tag Champs, La Rebellion. What about the Von Erich Slam says if they're ready to get back in full time now that they're back in Texas? Willie agrees. I don't know. What do you think, Jeremy?
I agree with what Jake House said. Should have been Hawk Series at not at Hard Times 3, but right after possibly. Or what was it? Hard Time? Which one was the one where? It was
Hard Times 3.
Where PJ wrestled La Rebellion by himself.
Oh,
that was a Crockett Cup.
Crockett Cup 2022. Yeah.
Okay. I think it should have been Hawk Series, but it should have been shortly after that. That would have been at about Hard Times 3. Yeah.
It's funny because Jay was there. You were there, Dave.
Yeah.
And at Hard Times 3, right? Yeah, you were there. And Jay was texting me at the time, and I was like, I can't believe that, like, the Cinderella story, they didn't put the belts on Hawk Series in basically their hometown, and Jay was just cackling, going, I love it. This crowd's livid right now. Yep. Hey man, that's wrestling. What do you think, Dave? If you like, I know you like the Von Erichs. You're an MLW guy, and they just left there fairly recently. What about them or Midnight Heat?
Either team would be, I'm not going to say an improvement, but it'd just be something different because La Rebellion is so much of, when they're there. They do a great job, but they're not making noise.
Right.
Or it's one of these things of they may be doing stuff outside of the NWA, but people aren't taking notice of it.
Sure. I mean,
yeah.
Because I don't know if you saw about what they did in AAA, how they came out and they attacked. They did the attack from behind on the new tag champs in AAA. So it's just, I'd like to see them be more mainstream. If that could be done with them through the NWA and other wrestling organizations.
But what there's no world class obviously anymore, no USWA, and it's not that they weren't big in some areas outside, the Von Erich home promotion. Kerry went to Florida. Kerry was a god physically. I mean,
yeah.
He found success with one foot. I mean, in WWF at the time as Intercontinental Champion. And obviously tragedy struck that family, but we never saw entirely what they could have become. But like, what in the absence of a WCCW, there's no better fit for me than in the NWA as a letters to push the Von Erichs. Like, they're like you say, they're not making noise, but maybe they could under this banner. I think it's a good fit for them. I mean, WC World Class was NWA for a long, long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike says too much controversy. I don't think Billy would want it after the La Rosa Negra incident, and that's an incident that La Rosa Negra and Tessa Blanchard allegedly had a problem. But there was a post recently that I think they both kind of supported that they had made up, and they were kind of cheek to cheek, and things can change. And I think controversy, read Tyrus, if you're talking politics, is exactly what Billy wants. And as Jay is often said, we're better to revitalize your career than the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm a bit behind my time because going back to Kamille, what about Freya the Slayer or Genocide? The Genocide's gone, as Big Chris Dog says. Good to see you, Chris. And Freya's in OVW, guys?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Mike, you got to calm down, man. I'm not going to put that up. What Chris says, let's be real. No one on the roster currently looks like future champions. Putting the tag title belts on Knox or Murdoch would be a step backwards. Wow, really?
I do see where Chris is going with that. You want to put it on a younger team that is a team, not two guys that got together to go into the Crockett Cup and win. If you do put it on them, make them transitionals and have somebody else in the wings waiting to come in and scoop that up. But the bad thing is their tag team pool is rather shallow whenever it comes to established teams that they have on their roster. Billy likes to do a lot of tossing together.
Yep. He certainly does. So, I mean, and I don't love tossed together tag teams. It's not like they don't make good tag teams that have been tossed together. I like a tag team that can, is traditionally a tag team.
Yeah.
Like those guys over there behind me right now with Big Bubba behind them. Lamb's got, let me go to Willie for here first. I'm trying to get everybody. I guess for World Junior, Barrett Brown, Laredo Kid, Danny Limelight could defeat Kerry Morton. I like all of those names.
I do too.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I think Danny Limelight's got his own arc to, maybe go through in the UWN before that's an option. Man, I'd love to see the Bodega guys.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know that the Bodega, just from what we see around Championship Wrestling presented by Car Shield, is going to last in its current form.
I have questions.
I have questions, indeed. Dave, do you know OMG, Mike Anthony, and Action Jackson from Texas, also known in Memphis? They're kind of under Rodney Mack's wing. I don't know anything about these team guys. Tell me about them. Lamb knows everybody.
They're fun. Action Jackson's popped up a couple of times. He was a regular in Memphis for a while. Not so much teamed up with Mike Anthony. I think they did a little bit in the early beginnings, but then Anthony split off and did his own thing. Jackson has came back from time to time.
I don't know why I didn't realize he's talking about the genetic nightmare right there. I don't know why that didn't go into my head at all. As an Action Jackson, to me, is that guy who's like 80 years old. What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Action Jackson, I believe. It's just another. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them out wrestling right now. I think AEW has one as well. I'm not sure, but I know that the Action Jackson that Lamb is speaking of, he's fun. He's good. He's got a water bottle on his back, I believe. Comes out there with the water bottle on his back and stuff. But he's athletic and
hydrated. Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. Chris says, "Look, you could name 1 million people outside the NWA. It's up to Billy to spend the money." Yep. And when Jeremy was saying at the top of the show, Billy books for himself. That's not just some negative conjecture on his part or our part. That's what Billy said. Like it's there's reasons for that, and like if you read between the lines, he's using a thought process which may or may not be correct, but that's what it comes out as, right? So
I saw. I don't remember what I don't remember what the quote was about or what they were speaking on, but I believe it was in Discord, and I saw someone bring up the term Moneyball.
Yeah.
And I believe in a lot of ways that's what Billy is playing right now. Is I'm trying to get the best value for my dollar until I can either win a pennant or a championship and get those marketing dollars in from all my merch and stuff. If I was a baseball team, and then I can spend money. But for this moment, I'm going to spend the money on the talent that I see the value in that nobody else is really seeing.
Right. And if anybody doesn't know Moneyball, and I'm sure probably everybody does, just the concept is, the Oakland A's lost their three best players all at once and went to a calculated, in their case, computer-driven. We're not buying players, we're buying runs, we're buying on bases, right? And
we're buying statistics,
right? And they built through math a team that went pretty far, for a fraction of the cost of that other teams could do it as. So, and I love that movie.
I think in this case that Billy's playing Moneyball until he can get somebody that's willing to put in a little bit of their money to help with production costs and stuff, and also shine a light on his product at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Vincent Verbex Patterson is here. AEW is Action Andretti. Lots of action. Okay. Hey, guys. Good to see you, Vincent. Let's look. Big Swole. Sorry, I missed it. Big Swole could beat EC3 for the National. The Gun Show can beat Tyrus.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, Willie. In the weeks ahead. That's all we'll say for now. So yeah, I mean, lots of good options out there, and some better than others, I think. But there you go. Let's look.
The last one by Willie. I like this one.
Yeah, Willie Mack
all damn day long.
Yeah, man, Willie Mack's cool.
Yeah.
Let's run down in the interest of time because it's flying by, and I want to get out of here before 8:00 when once again the Alliance guys are on tonight at 8 p.m. interviewing your NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, Kerry Morton, the future legend. The future legend is now.
Yep.
He's defended that thing like 65 times or something like that. So he's doing his thing. He's going to be on the show, and we got to be out of here in time for them to set up. So let's go run down the card that was just announced the other day. I'm going to pull up the thingy here. It is, of course, HP. That's Highland Park Cares for Cooper, a charity show that the NWA is running for the residents of Highland Park, and the proceeds going directly to the family of Cooper Roberts, who was injured, he and his brother, in that terrible tragedy that happened there. So let's run through the card, and I want to get everybody's opinion. You two guys in the chat, and I'll kind of, try to keep out of it. I don't have a lot of strong opinions about this card. Obviously, I want it to do very well for charitable reasons.
Right.
But I'll try. This is the order I think it's going to go in. So the first match will be Gags versus Psycho Boy Fodder versus Eric Jackson. I mean, not much to say there. You get your opener. It's a three-way match. You kind of whet the palate for some future action for the card. I think because that's how it's written. I'm assuming that's your opener, and that's fine. That's where it should be. You then get Angelina Love versus Ruthie J, and I think this is going to be a better match than you might think.
Yeah.
Angelina Love's got a lot of experience that she could impart on an amazing talent like Ruthie J. What do you guys think about that one?
I'm in the same boat with you. I think this will be better than I'm wanting to give it credit for just because it has Angelina Love in it, and I don't really care for her, but she's a veteran and she's been in this business a long time, and she's reached levels, that most don't. So I think it will be a good match. Ruthie J's a phenomenal talent, and she's got nowhere to go from this. So
I almost want to say, in the limited time that I know she's wrestled in the very small segment, Dave, that I've seen of Ruthie J, I almost want to go, is she a generational talent? Like, she seems that naturally gifted.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I'm not really sure. It's one of these things. She is very gifted. I don't know if she's a gymnast, but she is a natural.
Yeah.
She looks good in the ring. She sells really well. And like they say on Busted Open Radio, sometimes you go over, sometimes you get over. She doesn't need to win. She just needs to have a good showing to up her stock in the NWA.
Yep.
Yeah. I think a win would do tremendous amounts of good for her as well on that event. I don't think it would hurt Angelina at all. So
no.
I guess we'll see. So one of the reasons I'm not super excited about this card, like it's not like I was for Crockett Cup, is not particularly this match. It feels like we've seen this a lot recently, and maybe this is the first time. Maybe I'm wrong that they get their title shot, but haven't the Savages faced the Country Gentlemen before for the titles, or am I just crazy?
It feels like it to me, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Dave, do you?
I mean, like you guys said, it feels like it's a rerun.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing again. It may just be that there's been so much heavy tag team emphasis going up to the Crockett Cup and now coming out of the Crockett Cup that they're trying to keep both teams strong.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be one of these things of the Country Gentlemen are going to win, but it's going to be a disqualification win, that it's not going to be a clean win. So then this gives them another chance to run it back and go head to head for the titles again.
Hey, listen. Fuego del Sol, Matthew Underwood says, versus Kerry at Highland Park.
Okay.
I'd be for that.
I'm good with that.
Said good exposure.
With the Savages and the Country Gents,
yeah.
It does feel like it's a rerun, but man, giving Bulletproof Troop as much time in the ring as they can is the smart move at the end of the day. I mean, get him in there, get him as many matches as possible. Get him on green.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's got some work to do, and he's worth investing in.
Yeah.
This one's interesting. Robert Anthony. He's putting his arms up, folks. I'll go back here. Robert Anthony in the NWA versus Magic Jake Dumas with CJ. Robert Anthony in the NWA for the first time in the Lightning One era.
Heard it here first.
Yeah, this is going to be that clip when it'll be. Yeah, Robert Anthony, guys. Robert Ego Anthony is coming to the NWA. He's coming to go over Magic Jake. Dave, what do you think of this of his appearance?
I'm looking forward to it. See what he actually can do. He's provided quite a few opportunities for new talent to sign with the NWA. Who knows what this will bring?
Yeah, and I'll go back to Savages for a sec. I think Mike's looked it up and said, yeah, they've never had a title shot. Okay, so It just feels like they had 9 to me. That's all. I guess it's just that feud's wearing on me. I'm going to put this up anyway. Sounds like the NWA needs another wrestler on the roster, but doing it here with Anthony unmasked for his match due to this is a lesser of a noted event as it is charity. Hope Anthony gets double duty pay. So we'll leave that as it is. AJ Matthew Anderson was talking about slapping. That's AJ Kazana slapping Brock Anderson around. I am popping for Brock to continue to circle around the NWA. Yeah, man. Did you guys see that tweet?
Yeah.
It was the follow-up like that he put underneath it. It was like, I'm out here, AJ Kazana said, touring the territories, like your dads used to do. I was like, oh, I want to see this. So it was good. What else have we got here? We have Jay Bradley getting his shot at the NWA World Television title. Underwhelming to me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm underwhelmed with this.
There's nothing there for me other than Tom gets one more towards a lucky 7.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think that's probably all we need to say about that. Then we get Knox and Murdoch with a Crockett Cup in front of them. I hope they bring it. That's full of beer. That'd be awesome. Versus Daisy Kill and Talos. Do I have my sheet still? I don't. I threw it out finally. Didn't they wipe Daisy Kill and Talos out in about 30 seconds themselves in the Crockett Cup?
Yeah, but can we put that graphic back up real quick and I'll just focus on the look that Daisy Kill has on his face? Let's run that back so we can see that knock the fuck off.
You know who? I mean, let's be fair. You know who he reminds me of in that shot? It's Christian.
Yes.
From the Edge and Christian days, and
yep.
It was pretty funny back then. But yeah, listen, I get no problem with Daisy Kill other than his name's dumb. And
I don't either. He's a perfect chicken shit little heel.
Yeah. Matthew Underwood says that was me conversing with AJ about that on that tweet. So that's great. Magic Willie says Robert Anthony should make Magic Jake disappear and then CJ could be on the ladies roster.
Talk about who could take the title away from and should. There's my number one pick that's on the NWA roster right there, CJ.
Oh, well, I'm like, Robert Anthony, really? 10 pounds of gold? Like, no, you're like CJ for the world women's.
CJ for the women's title.
Yeah.
That right there is a could and should.
Yeah, so Tom Latimer to take that one, Willie. But yeah, I mean, Knox and Murdoch looks like a wipeout to me. I mean, look, I like Jordan Clearwater as much as the next guy. I really do. And he's come such a long way in the UWN. But really? National title match, Jeremy, EC3 versus Jordan Clearwater. Does anyone expect EC3 to lose?
No. They're gonna continue to piddle away the greatness that is the ever growing outside of the NWA, Jordan fucking Clearwater.
Yeah, I really feel like he's diminished, Dave, like in since losing his I guess since Idolmania started breaking apart, but I don't know. What do you think?
It's a shame that Jordan has to be involved in this. I'm glad he has a match, but they could have put anybody in there. They need to build up the undercard, and by having them continuously lose, even to a veteran, they need to figure out ways to work their talent so they're not always on the losing end.
Yeah.
That he just seems to be there. And I mean, if you've watched any of Jordan's previous work outside of the NWA, he can go.
Right.
They
he sure can.
Find a place for him that he fits in the NWA and do something with him.
He's a lot like Kerry Morton in the way Kerry Morton has become, right? Like he'll go into the ring in Irvine and go, everybody shut up, boo. If you don't shut up and pay me respect, I'm leaving. boo, and it's classic. Everyone's having a good time in the crowd because they all know what this, and then he'll like pretend to leave and then go, you know what? And he does that stuff so well.
Mhm.
I don't know. And he looks great, and he's obviously got a bright future. I just don't know that he's headed in the right direction. Matthew Underwood says EC3 should take that thing on the road, that belt. Yeah. Idiot Mania Sports Management. I don't even think they exist anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
James is out, and best wishes and speedy recovery to the Church's Money. He's out right now, Idol's doing the Scion thing or whatever the new guy's called, White Noise or what have you. Tom and EC3 could be in any prominent promotion defending the titles, and they would draw. Yeah, I think to some degree that's true. Yeah, and then the last match of the night, I think there's 8 of them announced so far. It's Kamille versus Natalia Markova, and normally I would go, hooray, this one's going to be great. And right now I'm like, what was the word you used, Dave? Rerun, or it's like I just saw this.
Yeah.
It's we obviously we suspend disbelief to a certain level, but if Ali knocked out Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle, you don't 2 months later go, okay, it's Ali Foreman 2. We're going to do it all over again right now. I mean, I know it's a different sport. I know but there are some comparisons there. Like the shine is off this match for me. Let's find something else. What do you think, Dave?
They just need to. They're spreading themselves thin. That I believe there's quite a few women that are wrestling, but they don't have the experience to step up. It's already going on round number 2. That Kamille has been through everybody already, and every once in a while you have to bring in an outsider.
Yeah,
just somebody different, even if it's, I'm not going to say a no-namer, but an unknown, somebody with size.
Right.
That you can look at another opponent and go, well, there's a chance. It's not a big chance, but there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance, 1 in a million, but there's a chance. That's one of those that you bring in somebody like Freya the Slayer.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody with size. Bring in an ODB. Just to give Kamille somebody to work with, that it's a name that she's defeated.
Yeah.
So it's one or the other, either somebody with size or somebody with a name or somebody with both. That just builds up Kamille. And I mean, it doesn't hurt if ODB would come in. It wouldn't hurt her a bit losing. I mean, she's been in this business 20 plus years.
Going to get a payday and go back to her food truck.
Yep.
Yeah. Why not? She'd be a great addition, and I'd clap to see that. Go ahead, Jerry.
I'm going to cut through all the BS and tell you exactly why this is happening, and Willie put it in the chat.
Well, there you go. So it's a TNA match, is what you're saying.
Natalia Markova has quite the rabid following online. She has quite a few men that like that sort of look, and those are the men that like that sort of look are going to like this sort of match. This will get eyes on it. It's Billy said it draws somewhere.
I guess
that's what gets Billy to make matches and put people in positions as online interactions and stuff like that. So
there, I was thinking back today about all of how long Kamille's been champion. can remember back when she held that title up over legit Layla Hirsch, who's half her size, and it was that long ago. But there were 3 occasions when I thought that somebody, like, are they going to take the title from Kamille? And 2 of them were big. It was size, like Dave was saying. One was Max.
Yep.
I thought, is Max the one? I thought the same, which is great, by the way. I love that feeling. That's what I want wrestling to do for me. The other was Taya.
Yeah.
And just as a random, there was a match that she had with Smiley. What's her name?
Kylie Ray.
Kylie Ray. Thank you, Smiley Kylie Ray. Where I literally sat forward in my seat going, is Kylie Ray about to take the NWA World Women's Championship right now? And it was just such a good a match. But the only way, I don't want to go into a match like this feeling like maybe I'm supposed to feel that way because she didn't win it the first time around. There's not enough story build for me. It's not time. So my shoulda right now in Kamille is, unless there's Tessa Blanchard is available, the answer is nobody. Just keep it on her and build another year of championship. Jay's obviously a big Ella Envy fan. Yeah, I mean, in terms of in-ring performer, and that's, by the way, we never said Ella Envy or Kenzie Page is a possibility. I'd like to see Kenzie at 75 against Kamille. Maybe that'd be okay.
I'd be happy with that.
Ella is one of my wife's favorite wrestlers, and I love the noise that she makes in that ring. She has amazing expressions, and it's Kenzie has really grown, obviously, in the NWA, but I almost feel like that Ella's the better wrestler out of the 2, even though she's not entirely presented that way. But anyway, sorry for rambling. But why stop now, right? Maybe it's because Billy's been happy with her ratings on the road. That would be Kamille, and I thought Taya was going to be the one. Yeah. Kenzie down the road. Is there enough time for 75 guys? What do you think?
With the way that they're doing content right now, I don't know.
Two belt brick house, Dave.
I don't know. It's one of these things that everything's interwoven right now. Kenzie's pretty empowered. Kenzie's part of the Southern Six, or is she? I don't know. I mean, right now, it's almost like flip a coin, decide what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. I mean, it's not bad that they have a women's TV title, a world title, and tag titles. It's just there's not enough space for all those titles to be highlighted or featured. And if you've already run through all your talent, that means you don't have enough female talent.
That's right. You haven't switched them up enough, at least, anyway.
To shuffle the deck and bring some new folks in.
Unseen Shift. This is your buddy, right, Jeremy? Welcome to see you. That match looks like a bad time, in my opinion. That must be Kamille and Natalia.
Yeah.
Apparently, Kylie Ray is pregnant, so congratulations to her. The only way, Matthew says, you take the Burke off Kamille is she's going somewhere else, in my opinion, right now with Rampage. So I agree. I would just kind of keep it on her until the right time, or like you have to take it off her and just have her continue to headline your shows because it's working and why not? Don't mess with the money.
Yep.
Willie had a thing here. Where is it? Here it is. Savannah Evans or Lee Tapa. Is it Leah Tapa? I don't know either one of them, to
I
be
don't know
honest.
who that one is.
I'll have to look it up. I will look it up, Willie. Speaking of women, just as a quick aside, shout out to the love of my life. The sun sets and rises on the Reluchador for me. She's been sick for a while. Hope you're watching, baby. We'll talk to you after this. Hope you're feeling better today. So let's move on. Let's go into some in the interest of time. Let's get right into it. An hour and 5 minutes later. Let's get into a segment we like to call Championship Wrestling from Jeremy.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
The following is a presentation of the United Wrestling Network.
It's time for Championship Wrestling from Jeremy.
Oh, a lot of feedback there. Is that me? It's one of us. That's crazy. I can hear it from like someone's way far back. Jeremy, the top 3 matches from Championship Wrestling Derby City, or 2 matches from Championship Wrestling Derby City and Memphis, but you'll explain why that is.
Yes, again, we had another doubleheader of Derby City this week on Championship Wrestling presented by Car Shield. Dave's spreading that net out there and getting Derby City more exposure ahead of hopefully some really, really big things I hear in the backgrounds that I will not divulge on any more than that. We start off with our Memphis match of the week, and I chose the LA Hustlers with Bradley and Lamont versus Steel Cross of Ethan Steele and Alex Cross this week. Not so much because of the match. It was a great match. Wasn't very long, but because of what happened to bring the match to an end. The match started out with Lamont of the LA Hustlers and Ethan Steele. Steele tagged in Cross fairly quickly and hit Lamont with a nice dual underhook slam. Tag team move. I like that. Started the match off hot that way. Got the crowd's attention. Dustin put over how Steel Cross is fairly new to Memphis, but has been tagging for years, and it shows in their ring work. At one point, Alex Cross catches Lamont with a chop to the chest, like Lamont owed him some money. It's just brutal sounding. That's probably one of the hardest slaps I've heard since possibly the Big Show chopping boys back in the day. Both teams have a nice fluidity about them, and Terrence Ward made a point of talking about how both teams have matching gears as well. As I alluded to, though, the real story here is the interference of a new tag team, the O'Neal Brothers. I had to do a little bit of internet sleuthing on this. There's nothing about them on Cage Match that I could find, but this is Stephen and Devin O'Neal out of St. Louis. They wrestled on the 23rd for All-Star Wrestling out of West Virginia. They wrestled at the Great Freedom Fest Bash for the tag titles in Logan, West Virginia. They were teamed up there with another recent show up in Memphis of Nixie XS, who we saw a couple weeks back. And the Memphis tag division is growing, and that makes me happy. And that's kind of what I was alluding to with the Posse as well. The Posse, back behind the scenes, Simon and Chris have known Dustin for years, and they do help Dustin with bringing talent in and such. And the O'Neal Brothers, I believe, is possibly someone that they scouted and brought in. I'm looking forward to seeing more new additions in the future. We then jumped to our Derby City match of the week, and this was Jordan Clearwater versus the wrestling god Moose. And we had Danny Limelight on commentary. The winner of this match gets a shot at Danny Limelight and the United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Championship. This was a match I didn't know I wanted to see until I was seeing it. Compared to what we've seen out of him in the NWA, the Jordan Clearwater of the UWN is so much more, and it's matches like this where he's across the ring from a veteran of the business and having an edge of your seat match over and over again.
Great ending.
Fantastic.
Great. Yeah. I liked it. It was really good.
It was a solid match all the way through. I feel that Moose really allowed Jordan to show what he's capable of and put him over a little bit by giving him as much offense as we saw. Great match, great build up to the end, which saw Jordan Clearwater attempt to hit Moose with a chair while the ref was down. Danny Limelight came, took the chair from him, prevented that from happening, allowing Moose to get the cover and the 3-count victory to advance and be another contender for Danny Limelight's world title. Then Jordan Clearwater proceeded to attack Moose, which got Limelight to come in and try and help out, which caused Jordan to get the upper hand on Danny, which caused Jake something to come out and interfere and get Jordan's attention away from Danny and Moose, and those two retreated to the back, which leads Jordan coming out of this storyline with Danny and attempting to get the belt back, now going into another storyline with an established veteran and Jake something. Another great, smart, intelligent move by Dave Marquez to put him in the ring in another program with another veteran to help the man grow in this business, which led to Moose and Danny having their moment in the spotlight, shaking hands, and then Moose keeping that grip and pulling in a Danny Limelight to give him the low blow to the no-no region and leave him lying in the middle of the ring. And instead of doing the Moose pull down, we got the Moose bink, bink, bink to every side of the ring. And that was the gloriousness of Derby City Wrestling. If you ain't watching, may your toaster burn all your toast.
It does if I'm not extremely careful. You know, Danny Limelight, your UWN world champion in Memphis as well, and talking to the gun show, your Memphis Heritage champion, and getting in. We talked about it kind of at the top there, getting into it with, you know, the posse. Something I found interesting though, like, is that, and I bring it up because I don't know the answer. I don't know that anyone knows the answer who isn't part of the United Wrestling Network, but Memphis doesn't talk about the United Wrestling Network. You know, and Derby City and Championship Wrestling from Carshield are on their YouTube channel to give them that boost, I guess. And it was like, this is the first time that I can recall that, you know, hey, the UWN World Champion is here, you know, and here's Danny Limelight, and, you know, Gunn shows out like, you know, I like that belt, and, you know, and Limelight's like, I came here to face the best. Let's get this thing going. But even so, as they were saying, Danny Limelight, he's a champ. He's, you know, he's the man. There was still no like, and we're part of the United Wrestling, you know, network. There was no, you know, we're a UWN territory.
Right.
Like that little logo that we put up on the side there is never up in Memphis.
Right.
You know? Same colors, the Memphis Wrestling logo, but
Mhm.
It's different. It's a different promotion, and they never mention it. I don't know why that is.
I don't know. I couldn't answer at all. Other than they're wanting to and being allowed to establish their own individual identity,
Yeah.
being as they aren't overseen and booked by Marquez and produced by him. It
Right.
is Dustin at the end of the day. But again, that's just speculation and how I perceive it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And one day it'll just come apart, and like we'll all go, "Oh, that's Dave Marquez who did that. That's brilliant."
Yeah.
Well, and we'll go, "Oh, that makes perfect sense now." Like Danny Limelight has captured the, defends a title and is somehow you're part of the network now, or however it's booked. I don't know. It'll just come out. But there you go. Thank you very much, Jeremy. I appreciate that. I'm going to go to the chat just for a second. There's been a couple of things. And just to go back here, Big Chris Dock had said, this is from before, use that AAA partnership, do an actual Mexican invasion. It's an interesting thought. I think the problem is Dave, kind of like the Forbidden Door pay-per-view problem. I think the Forbidden Door pay-per-view for AEW is an amazing idea, and I don't want them to stop, because you get that talent that you only hear about. But I don't think anyone would really know anybody from Mexico other than what we've seen so far. What do you think?
It's one of these things, bringing in outsiders, even if you know where they're coming from, you may not know of them. Whereas it's almost like, unless you're a really big fan of the Smashing Pumpkins, all you know is, hey, Billy's the lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
That when you say, hey, AAA, well,
Right.
if it's not your car protection, it's AAA, the wrestling organization, and I know Conan, and there's probably a couple other people that I know, but they're not mainstream. Unless you're a fan of that brand or that quote unquote band per se, you really don't know. You may know a few of the people involved, but you can't name everybody on the roster. It's almost like a baseball team. They all have members, but you can say, oh, I know the St. Louis Cardinals, or I know the Kansas City Royals, but you can only name one or two players off of that team.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's one of those, I'd love to see an invasion angle, whether it be the NWA invading a AAA show or a couple more AAA talents coming and helping the tag teams that were at Crockett Cup sort of band together and invade, or at least try to invade, an NWA show, whether it be a sponsored NWA show or a Kazana show or something down in Florida. They need to just pick and choose what they're going to do and just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you brought up baseball teams. Thank God you didn't say the Los Angeles Angels, did you? Because by God, they're terrible. They are just terrible. I can't imagine anyone who would defend them. But anyway, moving on.
Poke the bear. Go ahead, just poke the bear.
The bear is in the green room right now. He's busy setting up stuff. He's ready to murder me. My show's been canceled. You guys will have to carry on. Yeah, so Lade Tapa is the granddaughter of the Barbarian for the Powers of Pain, who battled the Road Warriors, the Hawk and Animal, and the NWA. I looked her up in the background as we were talking. She's just 40 now. She's not doing a ton of wrestling in the last couple of years, but she's like 5'11" and 215, and a former TNA talent. So yeah, good on you, Willie. There's some stuff there. Jay, get on here, man. You can get on here. You want to mention something about AAA? I'm just kidding about your team. You got a pretty decent record.
They're actually only 5 games out now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, 44 and 37. I looked it up.
Oh, son of a bitch. Yeah, hey, Shohei Ohtani hit 2 home runs last night with 10 strikeouts. So
that's that game where the guys run around and try not to touch each other, right?
Yeah, that's the one. You got it.
Yeah, carry on.
There we go. Hey, I just wanted to jump in on the comments about AAA because I saw what Big Chris Dog wrote. I actually wrote something today on the Alliance website at alliance-wrestling.com. That's your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. And it turns out just real recently that our World Tag Team Champions, La Rebellion, went back to Mexico. And not only did they go to make a statement, they went to make a beatdown. They powerbombed Commander on the stage. They threw a res down off the stage. I mean, they basically made a statement, and the statement is this: we're tired of waiting. Those titles belong to us. So, what Chris was mentioning is that hey, Billy, start using some of your NWA influence. Hey, man, how do you know he hasn't? How do you know he hasn't? We have Triple Mania coming up, I think next weekend in Tijuana. And that is that Triple Mania is their WrestleMania, obviously, and they do 3 different shows in some of their biggest markets. They do it in Mexico City, I think they do it in Juarez, I could be mistaken, and they do it in Tijuana. The Tijuana show is going to feature our Natalia Markova, teaming up with her rival, the Women's World Champion Kamille, and also a SoCal standout Viva Van to take on the triple threat a 6-women tag team with Sexy Star, and then Dally and somebody else whose name I can't remember right now. So you'll see some NWA talent on this card, including La Rebellion, who will be part of a 6-man tag. And in fact, they're actually teaming against Vampiro at this event. So I don't know, man. Chris, I'm not trying to say that you're wrong, but maybe we've been reading the wrong tea leaves. Maybe this is happening, and it's just not happening as fast as we'd like it. But I mean, I would imagine that Arez and Mystices probably have something to, or excuse me, Commander, not Mystices, have something to say back to La Rebellion. Maybe that's a matchup we'll see at the 75th.
That's exciting. This is his house, guys. We just deliver the paper here.
Look, I don't mean to hijack the show. It's something that was in the chat, and I'm here getting ready. So,
Mike says, God, please no, Jay.
What did I do?
I don't know. He's grumpy today. He's just Mike, get back in your cage.
Mike, I got Kerry Morton coming on in about half an hour from now. Come on,
yeah,
bro.
man. What else do you want?
All right, I'll bid you guys adieu. Great show as always. Have a good one, guys.
All right, thanks, Jay. Yeah, again, if you're tuned in late, Jay Cal has your NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion Kerry Morton, the future legend, coming on at 8:00 in just over half an hour's time. So, that being the case, let's move into something we like to call I Respect You, Booker Man. Dave, you are looking at what the NWA ought to do when there aren't any tapings in the can. There's no NWA. What are you thinking? No NWA USA, rather. What are you thinking?
Well, USA is only a 25 to 30-minute show. Do some best of matches of the current champions. I mean, I'm not going to say he has best of matches, but Tyrus does have some matches. Do a few clips here and there. It doesn't have to be the whole show on Tyrus. It could be, hey, this show is about your world champions. Here's a couple matches Tyrus has been in. Here's a couple matches that Kamille has been in while defending the title. Or this is how they came to become champion. Show some highlights. I mean, right. You have 8 different champions, 8 different belts, and that's 2 months of shows right there. if you did 20 to 30 minute highlights, do a short little interview, just have them FaceTime Kyle, and it's done.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Put it together. I mean, you have your champions. You could do best of Tim Storm. Hey, before Tim Storm was in the booth, he was in the ring. Here's highlights from 10 Pounds of Gold. You could do a whole show on Tim. Here's Jax Dane. He's in a tag team now, but he's been a decorated champion of the NWA. This belt. You could do a 30-minute show on him. I mean, you could also do whatever happened to this guy, this lady. I mean, you have, hey, these guys are now in the bigs, but before they were in the bigs, they were in the NWA.
Right.
Here's Eddie Kingston doing some talking and then some ass whooping. Here's Eli Drake. Now he's known as another guy, but here's Eli Drake. If you know, you know. Hey, what happened to the Pope? What happened to Ricky Starks? James Storm, maybe the Hex. Before they were the Hex, they were wrestling each other, not wrestling together. I mean, stuff like that. You have this library. Use it. Not everybody has seen it, and it's one of these things that if you like The Big Bang Theory, you'll watch reruns over and over and over again. You may know what it actually, you may actually know the lines in the show, but it's one of these things of if you enjoy something the first time, you may not enjoy it after watching it over and over and over again. But every once in a while, you'll see something and you go, I've seen this before, but I forgot how good this was.
Yeah. You said, not to cut you off, but you said Eddie Kingston talking. I just remember him saying, they told me not to bring a screwdriver out here, so I had to take your eye out. I was like, what? But I would love to see that again on screen.
Do that. And I mean, like right now, the big story coming out of Crockett Cup is Murnoch's. You could show the evolution. I mean, that tag team, how they started, Knox beat the hell out of Murdoch in a cage at a power trip. Show
Right.
that, and it goes from enemies to best of friends to Crockett Cup winners. I mean, you could even show your up-and-coming talent that, I mean, you could go, okay, hey, Mims, he's a tag champion or a tag team. He's part of Magnum Muscle, but did you know that he was in the very first match of Power? Here he is doing going after the TV champion. Here he is doing this. You could easily pick 2 or 3 up-and-comers and make a show out of it. It's one of these, highlight the up-and-comers, the future of the NWA. I mean, show Joe Alonzo. Colby Carino's back. Whatever happened to the Circle Squared, there's some unshown footage. Out of the Vault, doing Out of the Vault. Here's some stuff that was taped but never shown. And I mean, you could even, if you're able to get some development matches taped, even if it's not in front of a crowd, if you could get a Eric Jackson match taped, you could highlight that of, hey, here's new up-and-comers. USA can be whatever they want it to be. It doesn't have to be storylines. You could tape matches whenever possible just to have a back catalog that if you're at a Kazana show and Country Gentlemen are wrestling, tape it. You can just show the highlights, but that's 2 to 3 minutes right there. Them entering a couple big-time moves, them winning and walking out with the championship.
Right.
It's one of those things. USA could be a highlight show. It can be whatever they want it to be.
You're so right.
I'd rather something is better than nothing. And them not coming out and saying, we're going on hiatus. Or here's some highlights from the Crockett Cup. It wasn't shown on TV. It wasn't shown on the pay-per-view, but here's some of the qualifying matches to get these teams into the Crockett Cup.
Right.
That, I mean, they taped all of that. Why not use what you have?
You're exactly right. I don't even like. God, I hope they're listening right now, because that's what you need. You know, Kerry Morton, who, just to your points, Dave, who's coming on here with Jay in a few minutes. He's defended that title. I think he said, well, with Barrett Brown now, it'll be like 64 times. But we don't know that. If you're just someone watching it on YouTube, why not have clips from some of these matches outside of the NWA? You know, Kerry Morton with a showstopper 12 times in a row against different opponents, right? I'd rather watch a USA that had that stuff than some of the stuff that, you know, has gone on it.
And I mean, just like you said, do a highlight reel that we know Tyrus and Adonis, the last we saw of them, they tagged up.
Yeah.
They were in Crockett Cup. But if they don't do a part 2, that's on the NWA. There's a story that needs to be told. But you could go back and go, oh, hey, how did Adonis get to where he is now? He started off in Strictly Business. Then he did this. Then he did this. He won the national championship. He won this. He gave it up. He did this. He did this. That could easily take up 10 to 12 minutes, and that's half your show right there with a couple quote-unquote commercials and the intro. Then you go to, okay, they were partners at one time or they were in the same group. What happens if Adonis goes after Latimer? Or what happens if Latimer helps Adonis defeat Tyrus? It's not Strictly Business. It's just business.
Right.
There's so many stories that can be told with past footage. They just need to use it. It's theirs.
When are you gonna pitch yourself for a job there?
I'd love to have a job.
Do you want me to write you a letter of recommendation? Get Jay to sign it?
I mean, I'd like to just be involved enough to see what their thought process is.
Right.
That mine may be totally different, but I'm just going by a fan.
Right.
Billy can be a fan of it, but Billy is Billy. People know who he is and how he thinks, or at least we think we know how he thinks. But it's one of these things in the back of my head, I keep thinking, what would be really cool is we don't have one Dave that started off in the NWA. We don't have two Daves that started off in the NWA. What happens if those Daves would partner up and come in and do I don't know, maybe a Shane McMahon taking over the NWA type thing?
I'm sorry. Are you pitching Marquez, Lagana, and Scooby right now? Is that what's going on? Listen, I'll back that, man. We'll do a whole segment on it.
I mean, it's who knows?
It'll be Scooby and the Wise Men.
where there's a will, there's a way. Who knows?
Hey, well, man, I would back that to the moon. You got some comments here. Mike's on Twitch now. They can do a Best of the Lightning 1 era since its inception, from Aldous pinning Storm till today's current champs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to think they own that footage. Why not? Chris says Thunder Rosa, Cody Rhodes, right? I mean, there is some. I don't know if the NWA has any access to the all-in footage or anything like that, but that was back when the NWA had balls. But that was a great story with Aldous and Rhodes, and and the rematch and the whole bit, and just for what it meant to the wrestling business and what became from that is just the NWA could say, yeah, we were a big part of that. The fact that AEW is even over there is kind of really based sort of off of this event. So Dave, tremendous as always. Both you guys, tremendous as always. It is 7:35. We're actually going to finish on a time, but maybe even before we said we were going to. How about that? Listen, before we pitch our social media accounts, once again, if you're tuned in a little late, in about 25 minutes, J-Cal will be on the Alliance Dash Wrestling. The Alliance guys will be on tonight in 25 minutes with your World Junior Heavyweight Champion, Kerry Morton, the future legend. It's exciting. We're gonna see that. And please tune into that. It'll be on the Alliance's YouTube channel and on all the social medias. Just click the link. Jay will be there. Speaking of social media for us, where can they find you, Dave Scooby?
They can find me at Dave Scooby on Twitter and Instagram, and at Dave Scooby1 over on TikTok.
I don't have TikTok. What are you doing over there now? What's your
it's basically either you can record yourself.
Yeah, I know. I used to have it. I just gave it up because I don't have time. But
yeah, I'm not to the point where I'm recording myself. I'm doing some audio and visual stuff. But
nice.
down the line, I mean, once I'm feeling comfortable with it, I'll start recording some stuff. But right now, just doing some AV stuff.
Excellent. Yeah, it's baby.
You got a shout out.
Got a shout out from Money Mike. Hey, who also says NWA should be able to get the match footage due when it was a co-production of NWA and ROH. Yeah, maybe that stuff's tricky. I think from what I know, but you might have a point. But who owns ROH now? I mean, maybe that's not going to happen. Who knows? Right. What about you, Jer? Where can they find you?
You can find me over on Twitter at HJWOTS and over on the YouTube at Worm5559.
And I am on all the socials at the Alliance Gold. More importantly, however, our sponsor is alliance-wrestling.com. They are at the Alliance blog. And you can, I've lost all the banners and everything. There you go. At the Alliance blog and alliance-wrestling.com. Once again, one last pitch in just a few moments, 20 minutes from now. J-Cal is speaking to Kerry Morton, the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. That's exciting. I'm going to tune in for that. So, from all of us to all of you, we'll see you at the matches.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.